Hi, I'm Phil from Driftworks. This is my buddy Jay and my 964 Turbo, which we're hoping to finish up and actually go for a drive today. So in the last video you saw a pretty successful dyno run at Pro Tuner. So that's the car. Well, we think we've pretty much...
We think we fixed the crank sensor.
Yeah, we think we got to the bottom of it. The standard spec on the crank sensor itself on the flywheel calls for a 1mm gap. And it wasn't registering properly. It was like registering
most of the time, but then dropping out.
Yeah.
So now it's got 0.5mm gap and it seems alright.
Yeah, we basically reduced that gap to 0.5mm, checked that it wasn't interfering with anything because that is pretty close. And yeah, seems to be reading a really decent signal now and starts lovely and runs lovely. So that's that side of things sorted. We've just got the interior to finish up and tidy up. The other video that we just did was the air conditioning, the electric air conditioning, which is all working lovely now. You can probably see there's a massive hole here, and I did have a reasonably late 2000s simple stereo in here, but I bought a Blaupunkt unit for it. It's the one that you're supposed to put in here if you can't afford or don't want to afford the Porsche unit, which is really fancy too, but it's over £1,000. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. It's a classic Porsche radio that does DAB and Bluetooth and stuff. But no, this is a
SQR46, is it?
Yeah, which fits the vibe of the interior.
Well, it's a
much
copy
better.
of that 80s tape deck, isn't it, with USB?
Yeah.
So.
And I'm still going to have to squint to read this, obviously, with my lovely eyesight. But no, it'll look a lot better. So we've got to get that in here. We've also got the more complicated job of finishing up the heating part of the climate control. That's what we're going to call it. It's climate control in here.
HVAC, yeah.
Yeah. They're trying to find a home for this big box here, which is just an electric heater.
It was a 400-watt heater.
Yeah, it's quite beefy, and again, it will be calling on that big alternator to actually run properly. But trying to find a home for it's quite difficult. But I think the corner there. I've removed the OBD port.
We've removed the old heat exchanger.
Yep, pipe which we've got to block off. And just up here is the entry point for the heat that would normally come from the exhausts at the back into the heater box just up there. So some simple adapters from this 50mm up into that.
One on each side.
And then a bit hefty wiring, and we might have heat or, you know,
warmth.
Vague warmth.
Yeah, let's not
take the edge off. Yeah, and clear the screen, which is always the problem when I drive it. You've got
aircon for that now.
Yeah, but then it gets cold. I want everything, Jay. Did you not realise that?
You haven't noticed it. I'm taking a Japanese lady away at the moment.
Oh no, you're putting her back in. Did you get fed up of listening to her?
Yeah, I think it's that one. Yeah.
Gotta have her back in, maybe.
It's where the Scotch locks are. That's where she is.
You could probably sell that toll unit to somebody super JDM type.
Like Fraser.
Yeah. No, you're not allowed to have one unless your car came with it. That's the rule. If the car actually came from Japan with the toll booth thing, that's fine for you to make Japanese noises when you turn your car on.
Right, a toilet handle in your back window or whatever.
Yeah, maybe not that far. Maybe not that far. I mean, speaking of which, the Japaneseness of this car, I don't know. Thinking about changing some bits because I just like changing everything, but I might get rid of the rear tints on it. They're not very good quality on the back, on the rear quarters there anyway, but I don't know. Am I just getting old, Jay? I mean, I am, obviously, but yeah, I think, yeah, classier looking lines, don't know. Maybe I'll do that, we'll see, eh? But yeah, what we're going to do, we're going to mount that box.
This off the other day.
I was talking about taking that off. I'm still thinking about it all the time, whether it would just look awesome with the normal style 964 Turbo engine cover, deck lid on it. Can't have an exact one. I've got one, I bought one to see whether it would work, but this part here is much bigger to move around the alternator, so I'd end up having to make something myself. So I haven't quite got around to that, and I'm not sure. I do like it in certain angles, and then sometimes I just don't. So yeah, maybe I'll try it one day, because, you know, I need loads to do because I haven't got enough to do already.
Yeah, and that.
Keep inventing
And
ideas.
there.
Yeah. Just like the old days, eh?
It is, isn't it?
You used to.
It's like Halford's business.
Every time you ever had a different car, it would always have the wrong stereo.
Well,
leads
every
in
car had a different plug, didn't it? So
Yeah.
you had to get an adapter or get choppy and put these on.
Yeah. It has been a while since I saw ISO connectors.
I don't know, I think all my cars have them.
Yeah. Basic stuff, but you know.
I'm trying to remove some of your special Japanese Scotch locks
Yeah,
at the same time.
You know, even with the quality of the car that it is.
If it goes to Japan, it gets Scotch locked.
It's as simple as that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very simple recipe.
I decided to go ahead and see how difficult it is to take the window tint off to see what it looks like. And it looks, to my eyes, absolutely superb. There's one slight problem though. Side windows, really easy. Back window, left all of the glue on the inside and did the absolute unthinkable. I pulled off my Porsche Miroir sticker, absolutely gutted. The other half of it is here. So I had a quick look to see whether you can get a replacement for this. Doesn't seem very easy, so I might see whether I can carefully get the other bit off and see whether I can recreate this sticker. Because it's an important part of the car to me, really important. And like I say, I don't regret taking the tint off. I think it looks loads better without it. But I've also now got to spend some time with this on the inside of the car. That's going to be fun. This was my Friday. Well, about 3.5 hours of it spent lying in here attempting to get the glue off this rear screen. What an absolute disaster that was. I'm not sure what was going on with that glue, but it really did not want to come off. I even got what is supposed to be the answer to all your problems with tint glue and poisoned myself for a long amount of time trying to get that off. Taking a breath outside of the car here and then ducking my head back in. So what I actually did is the unthinkable. In the end, it was that bad and I'd left it soaking with the goo gone, which pretty much did nothing. I sort of let that soak in and then got really hot water, like hot enough to actually burn my hands even with the gloves on, to try and rub it off with the cloth, and it still wasn't coming off. And because it's a rear windscreen with the heater element in it, you can't scrape it with a Stanley knife. But then I kind of ended up doing that anyway because I thought I'd try some red Scotch pad, and it's worked. It has scratched the screen ever so slightly. I might be able to polish it up, but it certainly doesn't look too bad at all. It just looks like normal sort of old screen. So I got some final tidy up of the tiniest little bits in the corners left to do. Nothing too serious. The meat of the job is done. Another thing that actually brought to light was the parcel shelf here being damaged. It's not in there at the moment. It's actually in my car, in my 992, ready to go. Because the trim section that goes around where the rear wiper would normally be, all the leather had peeled up and it looked really naff. There's no way to make it look good. So I've asked my buddy Ed Aldridge to do me a solid and get me out of trouble. He is the guy who did the full interior in the Lamborghini, which is absolutely amazing. And he's just going to throw a new bit of leather onto the rear parcel shelf section and also fill in where the wiper would normally come through there. So yeah, I'm just going to drop that off to him now. So you know how earlier Jay mentioned something about the rear wing? I mean, not being happy with anything because I like fiddling with everything. Well...
Here's one we made earlier.
Now, this is 930 turbo deck lid here, engine cover. And I've had it in stock for like...
a couple of years.
Yeah, at least 2 years. Because ever since buying this car, I wasn't 100% sure on the massive wing. You lot have seen many pictures of it, that are tailored by me in terms of specific angles to make the spoiler look awesome, but there are certain angles of the car that the spoiler just looks really awkward. The whole wing does. So I've had this in my head of something that I needed to try for a very, very long time. It's a 930 turbo engine cover, but they're the same essentially. There's a few differences that are easily solved, like wiper hole location and stuff like that. But yeah, I want to know what you guys think really, because I'm pretty confident that 99% of people probably think I've completely wrecked it.
I don't know, I can't decide.
I can't decide.
From here, I like it.
Yeah, there's some strong angles.
From here, don't. And then I don't know what it looks like at the back, so I haven't pushed the car forward yet.
Yeah, so yeah, from here there's definitely, this looks quite strange here. There's standard intercooler boxing, I guess you'd call it there. But yeah, bizarrely, it nearly fits the gigantic intercooler. We have actually just removed it just so we don't damage it. But we've had it in for most of the work that we've done to get the clearance, to get this to sit in the right position. We've had it in here. So yeah, there you go. Like I say, certain angles looks pretty killer, or would do if it's painted the right colour, obviously. Certain angles I'm not sure about, so really is there any difference to that? And yeah, I'm not saying I'm going to do it. I'll possibly finish this up and have it painted silver and see what it looks like, because kind of I've already got it. The deck lid needs painting anyway. It needs a bit of body work because it's in a bit of a bad state. It was a cheap one, which is still really expensive nowadays, obviously. So there's no harm in me having it painted nicely and selling it on if I decide that I don't like it, but I might just go to the lengths of asking my buddy Gaz to paint it, and I'll fit it on the car for a bit and see whether I can make the decision. Or, you know, just, it's pretty easy to swap over, isn't it? So
yeah,
that's 4 bolts. Yeah, change my mind weekly. I can change the deck lid on it, can't I? So yeah, let me know what you think in the comments anyway. So the interior still looks like a mess, but Jay's nearly finished with wiring the stereo, hardwiring the dash cam. We've still got to do the dab aerial, which I think we're going to put in the back window if we can reach that far. I was just looking into this, which I'd previously modified to fit the TurboSmart eBoost 2 boost controller, which is a great bit of kit, but we no longer need it because it's all controlled by the Haltech. And I was thinking, what can I put in there that's 60mm? Went to the old school cupboards, which are here hidden, and found this. Super, super cool, kind of period, gritty turbo gauge, boost gauge, with the control module. And we've already powered this up to make sure that it works. So yeah, we're going to put that in instead, which I think will look really cool. We're just having a little lunchtime intermission whilst Jay works on his.
Should we not talk
daily?
So that was my place last night, and then oil on every tool I own. My torch, my snap-on machine, ramp buttons.
And more importantly, 50 quid of oil is now on the floor.
Well, Birmingham.
Yeah.
Most of it was on him last night, let me tell you, it was a mess.
Good job I bought enough to do it twice, eh?
Yeah, got extra oil. Yeah, so, it had a slight issue with the radiator and gearbox oil contaminating each other.
Filling each other up, yeah.
So yeah, Jay fixed it yesterday.
Fixed it well.
So because this has been literally rolling around in various cupboards and boxes for 15 years since it came out of the Driftworks R32, I decided to disassemble it and polish the lens on it, both sides. Obviously it's mostly on one side, but there was a little bit of residue on the inside. So what I've used is a Headlight restoration paste, a small polishing mop, and then finished with some Vuplex. This is great stuff. We use this on our Lexan and plastic windows on the E30 M3 and the 86 race car, so it does bring stuff up really nicely. There was some really deep scratches in this, and I haven't got them out perfectly, but I am more than happy with this. Now I've just got to reassemble it without touching the glass, and then we've just finished 3D printing this little adapter bezel. And just giving the bezel a quick squit, so I'm going to let that dry overnight and then reassemble. But yeah, pretty happy with it so far. Just got to not smash it when I put the bezel back on. That's the gauge done. As you can see, it's still lots of mess going on around in here, but yeah, pretty damn happy with that. I mean, long term, I'd probably like to create something that fills these holes in nicely, but it was a bit of an ask to ask Ed to 3D print this bezel for me. He's very busy, so yeah, that will definitely do for now. It looks super nice and fits really well, and yeah, all of this is tidied up now. I forgot to mention that I've got some new clocks coming. I've got some custom clocks coming, the dial gauges, and the RPM one where it normally has the digital readout for the 964 turbo stuff, which is controlled by that. We've got a different size that we're going to hopefully be able to put the LCD display out of the Haltech gauge that we've got. So should be able to have sort of whatever ECU information I want there as well, and hopefully have an indicator of which map setting it's on, which boost setting it's on, because I've got the dial gauge, which is now hidden in the glove box. So yeah, those are coming because they're peeling. Normal stuff on there, these cars. I don't know whether you can see there, but they needed refreshing anyway. But yeah, it's coming together. It absolutely stinks of fuel in here because yeah, we're just replacing the final bits of fuel hose here. As you can see here, this is genuine Japanese Worth hose here, and it looks fine. But one of the things we did just before we went to mapping was we just thought we'd check that these were tight, and they really weren't. Every single one of the fittings on this rubber hose was loose, and that is because this is essentially shrunk.
Yeah, it is pretty.
So yeah, we decided that we couldn't do it before mapping, but we decided we're going to place every final bit of hose just in the interest of safety here, and obviously get some black fittings as well, because they're probably genuine air equip these, aren't they? But
we've got genuine Tom Abaco.
Genuine Tom Abaco, yeah,
or Abaco motorsport.
And yeah, we decided to go for PTFE in the hope that
that's what you recommended.
It doesn't stink, because we've done lots of dash fuel hoses in the past, and some of my cars stink and some of them don't. So
this has a whole stinky engine in the boot.
Yeah, it does, and hopefully it's all behind me, so I shouldn't be able to ever smell it anyway. But yeah, I figured we'd go for the good stuff, or you know, what is apparently the good stuff, and get this done properly so that we can put the intercooler back on, put the original deck lid on until I make some decision, and yeah, get driving the bloody thing.
Have a go,
Yeah. So I spent an age on the electric heater motor that I'm putting in. Managed to find a nice enough space for it here. Had to move the original OBD ports, relays and stuff like that. The original heat source is here. We've got a grommet in it. This is the tube that goes down the sill and would normally come off the exhaust headers, manifolds at the back there. So that's blocked off. But normally what comes from here is a plastic tube that goes up and into the air box, the heater box here. Just into that we've already messed around with loads for the aircon. And that's kind of what it would normally look like. So what I've done is chop the back off it and very crudely plastic welded a 50mm tube onto it. And then on this side it's slightly more complicated. I had to make it at an angle because this gets very close to the clutch pedal here, sort of this area. So got a final bit of tidying up to do on these. Got to post this through because I did it before with this type of corrugated tube, but it's not very flexible at all. So I could do with a little bit more flexibility to again just tuck it up in the clutch pedal area. And then got some slightly complicated oversized wiring. It's not complicated at all, I just had to buy the right bits for it. Sent some wiring through the bulkhead, a couple of very crude switches, and I might have electric heat. So I've just got back from collecting this from Ed Aldridge, and this is where the wiper hole used to be. Looks very fancy, and if I spin it round gently, it looks even fancier on the top side here. And while I was gone,
This is where the wiper hole used to be.
Gaz, our lovely friendly body shop man, came round and him and Jay put the new screen in. Ta-da!
Oh no.
And what are you dropping?
A little fitting.
But yeah, very happy with that. I'm just going to land in the rear parcel shelf now. And huge thank you to Ed for fitting me in and my last minute panics as normal. So, another couple of days rolling around underneath the dash.
Oh, it's been a long day today, hasn't it?
It has, yeah. We've probably, both of us have been lying in super uncomfortable positions underneath the dash for, I'd say, at least 4 hours each.
Yeah.
Probably a little bit more. So, because yeah, I didn't film anything, I'll just bring you up to speed with what we've done. So, all about...
Completed it.
Completed it, yeah. So, you can't see much here, and that's good, because I've done quite a lot of work to tuck this in here. There you go, there's the secrets. That's the electric heater box, and I really hope that we're not going to have an issue with it being too toasty in this area. I've got to tidy that carpet up a bit more. I managed to cut back this bit of carpet here to hide it. I've left the hole where the OBD1 port would normally go behind here, and I've left that because basically I'm thinking that it'll kind of pull the entry point to the fan is just below there into the heater box. So I'm hoping that it'll pull air from the cabin and kind of do a recirc, because I don't think we expect this to be mega powerful in terms of heat. Just hoping it will take the edge off.
No, it's not going to be an electric oven, is it?
Nah.
As long as you haven't got frozen toes.
Yeah. And Jay's done a lot of the wiring for this. So again, behind that box is hidden with the 70 amp relay and 25 amp circuit as well for the secondary set of heating
A
elements.
50 amp and a 25 amp.
50. Yes, we've
One
got,
50 amp relay, one 25 amp relay, one 80 amp fuse.
so it sounds like quite a lot of power to me. So we'll have to
Yeah.
see. We haven't turned it on yet, but. And the other thing that I've had to do is lie upside down. I'm not sure whether you can see them. I mean, I guess turn the ignition on actually. So I've done light up switches, so that's the primary one, and then the secondary brings on the second element. So there's a hidden kind of, ooh, jazz.
Oh,
Jazz.
so what do they call it? Copyright infringement.
Yeah,
That was. Jazz man, has he got YouTube?
That's it. So yeah, they're kind of in.
Oh, shut up!
Jay's girlfriend, that is.
Oh, I hate her.
He really hates her. Yeah, so as I was saying, rocker switches kind of, I've found some that they're from T7 Design actually, who the guys who do the heater box. So they're kind of period, and I've fitted them in a place where they're kind of period correct. I had to move the clock setting rocker as well, so lots of dremeling, not a lot of fun at all. But yeah, pretty happy with how it's ended up.
No, it looks really good now.
Yeah. So on that note, I think probably call this episode a day. All the boring stuff is done, I think.
I hope so. I hope
Yeah.
it's time to blow the tyres off.
What an absolute mission it's been. But yeah, the next episode, hopefully we're going to be, well, I know we're going to be giving it a drive. But yeah, how that's going to go remains to be seen, but make sure you're subscribed, and then you'll get that notification bell ticked, then you'll get notified of the next video. Yeah, give us a like if you enjoyed the video, that'd be much appreciated, and comment, let us know what you think. It's always much appreciated, and I answer most of the comments myself. If you feel like buying something from the Driftworks shop, that'd be awesome too. So yeah, we'll see you next time, guys. Bye.
Check it out.